Let's step back a little, take a look inside our true self, get comfortable in the uncomfortable, and let's embrace our reality. Life is tough, but so are you. Welcome to the Choose Your Attitude podcast with Nicholas Strand. Join Nick, author of Loving Someone Who's Dying, as he shares his experiences of life loss to life on the road as a traveling roadie. He and his guests will get into real topics while encouraging you to let go of the past, lift up the present, and fiercely build your better tomorrow. Let's get through this together. Now, here's your host, Nick Strand.
Hey, welcome to the Choose Your Attitude podcast, where we discuss real life stuff, learn to master the only aspects we can control in life, and use it as a tool to make today the best day of your life. Every morning we wake up with a choice to make. What attitude are you going to create your life with today? We chat with people of all walks of life, people sharing their own stories and tips of some of life's most difficult journey. There is no proper way to do this correctly, besides talking about it and walking through the process, no matter how difficult it may be. So let's train the elephant in the room together, but first, a word from our sponsors. Are you looking for some much needed motivation? Maybe a new way to feel inspired? We know that life is tough, but so are you. Finding that perfect shirt you've been dreaming of is a tough journey, but we have you covered. That's why we are here with Choose Your Attitude apparel. Wear it with confidence and remind yourself you're choosing a way to success. It is a constant reminder that you can share with others. Join the Choose Your Attitude community and share an attitude of style that others will want to be a part of. So get yours now at chooseyouratitude.com. Would you like to be a sponsor on the Choose Your Attitude podcast? Reach out to us at podcast@chooseyouratitude.com. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Choose Your Attitude podcast, streaming at podcast.chooseyouratitude.com. This episode also has a video version that you can find and subscribe at youtube.chooseyouratitude.com. The video version usually airs about a week after this podcast airs. I want to welcome everybody, and I'd love to welcome Deano with Tim McGraw, who I have actually toured with a couple times. Welcome to the show, Deano. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Deano and I, we worked, he was actually on my first tour was Rush, and right after Rush was actually 2010 Southern Voice Tour,
Wow.
where we worked together. So, and then we actually did another tour most recently, but I'm not going to talk about that one yet. I want to kind of dig into you as an individual and how you kind of got started in music, and kind of what instruments you play, and how you kind of got involved with Tim McGraw and that.
Sure, man. I started playing music when I was about 8 years old in third grade. Just middle school. We had some high school students come to our middle school to kind of recruit, for the high school year, and the wooden and stringed instruments just kind of spoke to me. We had an orchestra quartet come to our music class, and they played a little piece, and that violin, just the fact that it's handmade from wood and it stood the test of time, for centuries, has been with us in musical format. And so I just thought, man, that's a pretty nice instrument, and I stuck with it. Chose to play music over sports. I was a music nerd, and was asked several times to play football, but I didn't want to hurt my hands, and just it wasn't my deal. It wasn't my bag. So I stuck with strings and music. And when I was about 13 years old, one of my friends in the apartment complex he lived in, he could hear a country band kind of practicing in one of the apartments down below. And he knew I had just kind of fallen into the fiddling aspect of the violin. And he kind of gave me a little advice and a little motivation to go check out this band. And I did, and they gave me an audition, and, I got it. And that was when I was 13. So I was playing in bars and clubs from, my early high school years. And I was raised in a single parent family. So I was fortunate enough to be able to help my mom, keep our family going and keep everybody fed. So learned from an early age that, music also gives us something, to our heart and soul, but it can also put bread on the table and help out in more ways than one. So just hung with it, just chose to stick with it. And, despite all of the, even when I moved from Austin to Nashville, I had several friends say, man, you're just going to be a little fish in a big pond over there. And I said, well, I'll be a fish. I'll be where the catches are being made. So moved to Nashville. Backtrack about 2 years. I was selling boots and jeans in Austin, Texas, and playing clubs at night, and had a little break to come up to Nashville and check it out. A buddy of mine had just before that recently moved and had met some really cool people he thought that I would hit it off with, one of them being this young artist named Tim McGraw. And so my buddy Shane said, we'll pick you up at the airport. And Tim and Shane picked me up at the airport, and I met Tim right there on the fly. He had just signed his Curb recording artist deal, and kind of skeptical about what the future was. But on my return home, he said, man, if this thing takes off and I'm able to afford another musician, I would really love to have you, play fiddle for me and sing background. And I was like, man, cool. And, you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot from people, stick around. Let me see what happens and we'll get you on. Well, I took his words and I went home back to Austin and grabbed my wife and whatever little money we had in the bank and our 2 cats. And we drove up here to Nashville. That was in 94 or 92. I'm sorry. I began working with him in 94. We were actually opening for Tim. The band I was working with opened for Tim in Denver, Colorado, a place called the Grizzly Rose. And that night, Tim said, hey man, are you ready to go to work? And I said, yeah, let's do it. And so that was about 25 years ago, and we've been playing music together. I've been so fortunate to be in the spot that I've been in. He's given us, the opportunity to be on 4 studio records.
Wow.
Has always encouraged us to be who we are. He's always told us, take the stage away from me. You do your show and you try and take the stage away from me. And so that's the way it's always been. Straight out fun, have a good time, balls to the wall, go out and have a good time. And so, yeah, man, definitely feel like the right place at the right time. But also, that also meant me moving and me making the decision to move at the right time. We gave ourselves 3 years, my wife and I, and just about the beginning of our 3rd year, Tim was like, let's go. And I was let's do it.
That's beautiful. No, I love it. So you literally grew up from starting to play, which, by the way, the violin is one of the most difficult instruments to play because there's really no fret or exact, location, right? Where, to play the keys. And you literally were already on stage at 13 and you just stayed devoted and believed in yourself. And here you are now, playing for Tim. And some of your audience members are, 60,000 people or more. As you sitting here now, like looking back at your 13-year-old self, did you feel like when you were playing, were you like, I'm going to be here? Or did it just kind of, you just kind of just stuck with it and it became?
And that's the weird thing is that, when I made the decision to pick up country music, because I played classical, I read music in high school, did the solo and ensembles. I grew up in South Texas. So, from high school, all kinds of music, mariachi, the guys with the big hats and the ties and all. Yeah. Yep. I did that for a couple years. I played in our regional symphony. But yeah, there was just, when I decided to play country music and I decided to learn the licks, I had in me the desire to be like Charlie Daniels. that was my, I want to be the next Charlie Daniels. Okay. So I had a dream beyond, my stars. And what ended up happening was something, almost just as cool. If I had come out to be the next Charlie Daniels, I may not have been working for 25 years. I may have only worked for 5 or 10, who knows, with this crazy business. So I think somebody, they always say you don't get what you want, you get what you need. I think in this case, somebody up there said, I think you would be better suited as the side guy for this guy. I think I didn't go against that. I fully embraced it and fully said, hey, let's do it. And Tim gives me the opportunity to be that guy sometimes. I have a little following on Instagram. People, I'm able to write and put songs out there, and Tim has no problem with that. If I were to become a hit songwriter tomorrow, Tim would probably be, 100 times more proud of me than he already is, because I accomplished something. But he would never say, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. He would always be in our corner.
So I gotta kind of talk about this too. We had talked about it a few times, and here you are, talking about being able to get to this point and actually performing. And here we are sitting on this podcast. One of the things we had kind of touched base a little bit is, I know for me, working with you guys, backstage, I'm never actually in front of the spotlight. And so I think, backstage, I don't feel that same sense. I definitely feel it when the lights go off and there's that energy, and, it's beautiful. But to stand in front of 60,000 people and to be able to, throw one of those licks down for, Green Grass Grows or something like that, and to have, I'd like to say no fear. But then here we are at this podcast, and we had talked a little bit about even me, being a little nervous to get in front of the camera and do this. How does that process in your head about, kind of the, I know for viewers like outside, they're, looking at the idea of standing in front of a stage. I know for me, I'd be like, as far as speaking and stuff, I'm a little nervous to do that. And yet, here you are going from 60,000 in the, the heat of the moment to, right here.
Yeah. Well, the nerves are definitely there, when before a show, before the dark lights, music goes on and all that stuff, we're backstage. I have a series of songs I like to listen to get me just to where confident, I think it is. I think where we all, or it might be, it's a little bit of lack of confidence. What happens if I don't always feel well? There's days and nights that we go on stage that I may have a cold or just tired. We had Tim loves to work out, and so he loves to have us working out with him, and it's a benefit that we all share. So the nerves are definitely there, and up until I've actually played the first couple notes or sang the first couple notes, do I feel like I'm home yet? It's still I think to be nervous is human, whether it's sitting here talking to you, or playing before 60,000 people, or, I get nervous practicing here at home. You're exposing yourself, and I know this is my talent and my gift, and I know I should be sharing it. And that right there kind of, encourages me even more. This is what God gave you to share with the world. And if you can make somebody smile out there and bring them out of a bad spot or a bad moment, then that's your job,
So it's more of a mind game instead of a physical setback.
Totally.
But you have the capability. It's just, a little bit of a reprogramming of almost the choose your attitude, if you will. You have to, make that choice to step in there. And I know I'm kind of doing the same thing with, podcasting, but I want to touch back with kind of you and Tim and kind of working, as the band prior. I know that's one thing. We're putting the stage together and such, and we get there early. You guys get there around 3:00 or so. Mm-hmm. One of the first things I usually see you guys do as a group is you guys go hustle and you guys are working out. Mentally, how has that impacted you guys? Because I know for me, after Brianna had passed, working out was what I found to relieve the pressure, the frustration. It was that hobby I could take anywhere. It was that thing that, nobody could give me anything. I had to give it to myself, and that was one of those things. But for you, how has that kind of helped you in, your struggles and even kind of helped, I guess, even as a group kind of, mend and build? Because I do know that's one thing, even in 2010, you guys were starting and now even more so, it's, hardcore. And right before this podcast, we just talked about, you went ahead, hit the gym a bit, but yeah.
Well, it brings us together. We share a sense of brothership when I call it the guerrilla yard, because we're throwing around chains and tires and sledgehammers and crazy things like that. So, but it definitely pulls us together. We motivate each other out there. We give each other support. We give each other praise because, from day to day, you see each other getting stronger. You see, each other losing a little bit of weight. Our goal is to be able to be in a shape that we can do this as long as possible, and we've all, myself speaking, I don't want to put any kind of rumors out there, but we've treated ourselves bad enough, for many years at the beginning of our career, so taking some time to build on what we've been given and strengthen and tone for the benefit of our families, for the benefit of the fans and the music is a nice feeling to share. And Tim's a good trainer, man. I mean, he's motivating, but he doesn't beat you up if you don't. He's always encouraging to do what you can do, but just get back in it. And that's kind of like life. Life's going to beat you up, but if you just give up and lay on the sidelines, then you're never going to make any achievements, any advancements. So it's been great. This last year we haven't done a real tour since we just wrapped up with the two of them. And, we had Faith out there many times. We had some of the opening acts out there. I think we really freak a lot of the younger opening acts out because we're out there, like you said, about 3:00 in the afternoon. And it's sometimes we're in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 113, and we're out there just getting what we can get, as we can do it. And I think we kind of shame some of the opening acts because within the next couple of days, they're out there doing it too. And it's a great alternative, being out there, you can waste a lot of time. Being on the road, you can waste a lot of time, and there's a lot of temptations out there that can definitely, take you down a dark road. So to be able to have something to look forward to when we get to the venue, a good workout, a shower, a good meal, and then a kick-ass show. Yep. That's the topping on the day. That's the nice day.
I think one of the biggest things that I found too, and you've kind of pointed at it, is the refocus of your negative energy. For me, it's kind of been that healing sense, and I definitely see that with you guys. So like you said, the most recent one. So the first one we were together in 2010, and then we came together again actually in 2000. I think it was 18. But what was significant is I don't remember if 2010, if you had seen Brianna or met Brianna. I know 2010 was more of kind of like passing in the hallway type stuff.
Right.
That is one thing that usually happens with us, is because we're two different sets of groups. There's not a lot of interaction. It's usually outside interaction if we ever interact. But in 2017, when Brianna passed, that was one huge thing that I found, is everything at home had disappeared. And what was really, really nice is it was about a week after she had passed, and it was like one of those very dark moments. And I remember Allie, who is the wardrobe. I had talked to her, and I knew you guys were coming out, and a whole group of people were out there, and I got to come see you guys, and it was one of the most beautiful things because it was a great a reminder that at home we almost live like two different lives, if you will. There's at home, your family, and obviously those are most important. But at the same time, in addition to family, there's also this inner soul. I know you love this and I love this. There's a vibe out there. It's a brotherhood. And like you said, especially with, McGraw's camp, it's this family. And that was one really cool thing that I appreciated. And it was one of those things that gave me hope when I came to see you guys and listening to your guys' music. It actually, was really deep and sensual. And a couple of the songs, Live Like You're Dying and such. I know when 2008, it was one of those things that we kind of had a little ritual. I was on the side of the stage doing camera. And it was one of those times that you just happened to be doing the solo on that side of the stage. And every single night, it was kind of one of our moments where we would connect. Exactly. Yeah. How does that make you feel? Here you are playing for all these people, and to you, you're having fun on the stage. But to some of these people, they're in an emotional situation. And especially right now, music is a piece of entertainment that has this healing power that can remove us from almost anything. And for that 1 hour, we can have some fun. As a musician and being on that stage and having that power, how does that make you feel? And how does that, kind of interact with, you as Deano, the violinist, and mandolin, and, that kind of thing? How does that, kind of vibrate the bones?
Yeah, man. It's moving. I sometimes I can't look at the audience because of the emotion that, the nerve or the emotion that we've hit with this song. And that song, Live Like You Were Dying, resonated with so many people going through so much, and mostly, cancer survivors. And so it's every night we play that song. There's people down front who have and are living like they're dying, and it's emotional. There's many a night that I have to look away, and maybe that might have been why I happened to look up and see you over there, and in the back of my head, I knew what you were going through, and I just wanted to encourage you to, hey man, keep your chin up and keep on living, because you're not dead, but there's a sense of like, oh my godness, and there's a sense of like, wow, almost like awe, like I can't believe that the song that we're singing and playing is doing this to these people. Brings back a memory of somebody they lost, or an experience that they're going through. It's quite powerful, man. It really is. That's what you want to do. That's what you long for. You want to reach people in that capacity to where you're talking right to them with your song. Like you said a minute ago. Something about language and music. It doesn't matter how many languages it goes through, or whatever. I forget how you put it, but it's music.
Yep. It was, you can play an instrument, and no matter what language you speak, we all speak the same thing. Yeah. And it's a cohesiveness. And, it is pretty beautiful. And, as you're talking about it, I'm reminiscing it a little bit, and, you can feel that. And, I will say that is one thing too, that I miss. And, that's part of my struggle right now that I'm having a hard time with, is because of, us in the concert industry. We, it's going to be a while till we, possibly go back. And, that audience is huge. And I actually remember going back to, school when I was doing video. And that was one of those levels of, do I work in the studio or do I work in a concert? And actually, even in the book, I kind of wrote it out of, kind of watching Garth Brooks in Central Park and watching, that feel of people.
Sure.
And now I'm out with, a Dave Matthews Band and, watching how he connects with his crowd. Much like, Tim McGraw is another one of those that, he's got that energy. There's definitely nothing like it. And it's pretty exciting. Now, with all this stuff going on, we've talked about Tim a little bit, but you still are an individual and you still got projects that you're kind of working on. We talked about a song that you might play here that that you wrote.
I've always since I moved to Nashville and even before moving to Nashville, songwriting was always something that I thought was very special and something I really wanted to try and get better at doing. So writing and pursuing a songwriting career is kind of like where my second focus is. Podcasting has been something that's been heavy on my mind and trying to get out there. And I feel like for the past 25 years or so that I've been able to do this with Tim, there's been so many people who have given me so much of their lifetime and money that I would like to give something back. And I don't know that they, that they want it. I haven't had like a overwhelming response of people saying, Deano, do a podcast. But I think being able to connect with people like you on a level of normalcy and a human kind of vibe. Every day is not perfect for me. I struggle with financial insecurities. I struggle with personal confidence issues. I'm a father of four boys and one daughter who's given me 3 grandchildren that, I'm learning on a day-to-day basis how to deal with certain issues and questions and stuff going. So, trying to be able to, provide the people who have provided with me with so much, a little something would be my ultimate goal, just to be able to, share some of these, cool people in the world, or maybe it's my musings or my advice, or so. It's got to be something like you've done that people all want to know about. How to choose your attitude and change your life is what we all would, benefit from, I believe. So, singing and trying to pursue a record deal. I don't know. I'm getting kind of old. I still love to sing. I still love to play and write. But who knows? I've toyed with the idea of writing children's books. I'm still a kid up here. I'm still, I'm an old man out here, but up here I want to do crazy things. And so
I love it.
I got to find something that feeds that, because I'm definitely feeling a hunger in that area, whether it's, a podcast or a book or something. I've been shooting pictures and I've been journaling since I started with Tim. So I have a few volumes of journal entries. I have, books and discs of photographs. I actually was fortunate enough to get some of my photographs published in one of the books that we did early on that coincided with our very first project, our very first record project. So they used a bunch of my photos in one of our books. So that was kind of cool. But again, Time Magazine hasn't called me up yet.
No, I love it. It's, like you said, it's a good step or a good understanding. Like you said, to share that we're all human and we're all at the same level. And we're kind of learning that right now, even that, we all may have different journeys or different aspects, or our picture that people see may be at a different level. than others. But at the end of the day, we're all at the same level. And by choosing and creating these different aspects and sharing some of those things, is definitely inspiring and shows that, we're all human. And at the same time, we all have struggles. And no matter what the struggle is, it's not a, you can call it a failure, but at the same time, I don't like to call it a failure because it's more of a learning lesson. And we're all human. We all struggle. And, even like this, like you said, with your podcast, it's been a journey for me to go through this with this podcast. Being comfortable or trying to become comfortable doing this is a journey in itself. So, I applaud you for that. I know we've talked about, working together to kind of help you get there. And
I'm looking forward to that too. Thank you, Nick.
Yes, for sure. So in this time, if I was a person who wanted to learn to play, and I know for me, one of the first stages was trying to learn guitar, and it just, mind over matter type deal. What were some of the biggest lessons you got as a musician that you might be able to share to somebody starting out that's, getting frustrated and keeps, maybe tossing the violin or whatever, because, they just don't feel,
good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nothing good. I've always learned nothing good is easy, and I think the term or the word good, or, I think that's relevant. I think you gotta be persistent. And if you can just notch out some time in every day to where you can spend some time with your instrument. And, some people think, there's times where I practice and it may not be anything but me keeping my bow straight on the string and just having long bow strokes and just keeping that smooth and fluid. I don't have to go through a bunch of scales and arpeggios and, pieces to feel like I've practiced, getting back to basics, getting back to what got me started are the most fundamental tools that I can better myself with. So, anybody who wants to learn an instrument, I think you need to ask yourself from the very beginning, how bad do I want to learn it? If I want to learn this instrument bad enough that I'm willing to cut my nails really short, because any string instrument you play, you're going to be using the tips of your fingers, and any fingernail on that left hand is going to cause a problem. Am I willing to cut my fingernails? And then, am I willing to practice a little bit every day and not beat myself up? Imagine, I can imagine my parents back when I was 8 years old in the third grade, when I brought home my violin and I tried to practice, for them. I'm sure it sounded like a car wreck, having a good surrounding group support system with anything, people who are going to encourage you even when you do sound terrible. You're doing better, keep it up. You need that. I think that's important, even if it's just your spouse or your kids, but persistence definitely is one. And just, how bad do you want it? There are so many resources out there, Nick, right now with YouTube, and especially with everybody being at home right now, everybody's putting out, instructional videos. So it wouldn't be for a lack of resources that you couldn't learn how to play an instrument. It would be for the lack of confidence, I think, nowadays.
Would you put patience in there too?
Oh, of course. Yeah, definitely. And have reasonable, I won't say lower your expectations, but having reasonable expectations also helps. Itzhak Perlman, I'm sure when he first started out, sounded like I did when I started out.
Everybody's got to start out, and that's one thing I'm learning right now too is patience. I want to. We all, most of us, we're all driven, and you all have that drive. And to be honest, that's what I gave up on the guitar for is because in one day I wanted to, get on a stage and be, the Garth Brooks or whatever.
Sure.
But no, that's definitely right now is the patience. And so, I wanted to add that to that because that's a lesson I'm learning as we speak right now, that, today's not going to be the success, but that drive and continuing through is where you're going to actually, and much like it sounds like with your career, that's what happened is you just stayed and you kept going, and there's no real day that it came, but that one day that it's, when you're seen and that devotion is seen, they pick you up because of your drive and devotion rather than your, the extreme talent, should I say, correct?
I can agree with that. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Sometimes that outshines the talent, if they know you're a hard worker and you're willing to keep your nose to the grindstone, as they say, and do whatever it takes to either learn a part or, be able to sing a part or whatever. I mean, that's persistence, determination, that's all those good qualities that are helpful in learning an instrument,
Well, I'm excited to hear what you have for us. I know, can you give us a little bit of a intro on this and then play a little something special?
Yeah, I can try. I will, like I said, since I've been in Nashville, I've just kind of been wanting to better my songwriting abilities. And, I'm not the best I can be playing my instruments. I know that there's a lot of room for improvement still. And I do, I practice. This is just one of those little, what do they call them? Side jobs or side hustle.
Yeah, there you go.
Side hustle that I've, been messing around for a little bit. And who knows where it'll end up, but I enjoy doing it. It's therapeutic for me. And maybe one day you'll hear some of my songs on the radio. This song was written between myself and two other friends of mine, Trafton Harvey and Quinn Loggins, both very good writers. Love those guys both very much, and we just wanted to kind of come up with a song that kind of let people know and encourage people to look for the the beauty in the hurt and in the the roughness of life. It's all around us, and it just takes a minute for us to kind of see that the brightest stars shine when the night gets its darkest. So this song is called Brightest Stars, and it goes something like this. Dad takes his boy every year, going on 10 years now, to a dogwood tree growing up where their home burned down, to remind him no matter what happens, beauty can rise from the ashes, and life's got a way of turning itself around. So take your hits, 'cause it makes you stronger. Get knocked down, you stand a little taller. All the bad in this world ain't nothing up against all the good in this life. All the good in this life, no matter how hard you fight it. Sometimes you lose it all just to find it. When the night gets its darkest, the night gets its darkest, the brightest stars shine. The brightest stars shine. There's a woman walking out of a church with her 1-year chip. 12 months to the day she was low as anyone could get. But she found the strength to take it to the pastor and fall to her knees for an answer. Now she stands in a circle preaching what she heard God say. He said, take your hits 'cause it takes you stronger. Get knocked down, stand a little taller. find it. Sometimes you lose it all just to find it. When the night gets its darkest, the night gets its darkest, the brightest stars shine. The brightest stars can't have laughter without crying, joy without pain, give without take. Where there's clouds, the sun's still shining, waiting on a break to make a rainbow from your rain. When the night gets its darkest, the night gets its darkest, the brightest stars shine, the brightest stars. So take your hits, 'cause it makes you stronger. Get knocked down, you stand a little taller. When the night gets its darkest, the night gets its darkest, the brightest stars shine, the brightest stars shine.
Love it. Great job.
Oh, man. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was beautiful. So I've been kind of ending all of these with kind of one question.
Yeah.
And that question is when I say choose your attitude, create your life. What's that mean to you, and how does that kind of resonate a meaning?
Man, it's something I struggle with every day. So those words really strike deep in my heart, because choosing your attitude is really the only thing you have control over, the only thing I have control over as a human being. So I'm always reminding myself to choose my attitude, and I know the outcome. I know it'll change my life. So it's just that the first half
Yes.
that I gotta get solid. The other half will follow. So no, man, those words, I love that you took Brianna's words and used them to create this reminder for everybody, because it is like you say, facts. This is facts. If you can change how you feel, if you can think differently how you feel about something, your life will change.
I love it. Dino, I thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on here. It means the world to me. If people want to find you, where can they follow you and connect with you?
Well, I'm on all the social media platforms except for Facebook. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Instagram at Dino DHD on Instagram, and on Twitter at Fiddle and Dino. And I have a little blog that I contribute to every now and then, and I'm finding more and more time to contribute to it here recently. So that's fiddleanddino.com. There's a little bio, some pictures, and I promise there'll be new content very shortly.
I love it. Well, I'll definitely do what I can to help you. That's for sure.
Thank you, brother. And hey, once I get my stuff rolling, my little podcast rolling, I'm going to have you on here, because people need to hear your story, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Choose Your Attitude podcast. Don't forget to come visit us at chooseyouratitude.com, where you can find more info about the mission, as well as Choose Your Attitude apparel, along with books, Loving Someone Who's Dying, and the illustration quotes on a fridge. If you have any questions or ideas for the show, please email us at podcast@chooseyouratitude.com. as we are always excited to hear from you. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And as always, choose your attitude, create your life. Thanks,
That's right,
everybody.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you for listening. To reach out to Nick and the Choose Your Attitude community, find us on social media at Choose Attitude Create Life. Share your attitude with the world with merch guaranteed to encourage at ChooseYourAttitude.com. Be sure to share us with friends, family, and colleagues. And while you're at it, leave us an uplifting review. We'd very much appreciate it. Check back for new episodes. Until next time, choose your attitude, create your life.